So let me get your thoughts on all this prospect debut call-up action going on. The good, the bad. What do you think?
I think it's good if they're ready.
Uh-huh.
And I know you said, oh, what's the worst that can happen? You send them down.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams are very hesitant to send guys back down. I think Kratz will back me up on this because once you get them up there, you don't want them to fail. And I know, like, you look at like an Alex Gordon with the Royals, right? They sent him down, but their excuse was, hey, we're going to teach him to be a left fielder instead of a third baseman. And a lot of teams, because they hype these guys so much now, these prospects are hyped so much because, and it's not their fault, but it's because we have the internet now. And because we have Foul Territory, and we have MLB TV, and you can watch any minor league game on my iPad sitting in front of me. I can watch any game, right? And then you have chat rooms, and you have Twitter, and you have Instagram, and you have all that. So it's easy to know these guys, and then every organization overhypes their prospects. I mean, I don't care who you are. Every organization does it. Some are better at it than others. So when they get up there, they don't want them to fail, and if they do struggle, they really hesitant because then it looks like a failure on the organization's development side, right? So if a Dylan Cruz is ready, listen, he hit at LSU. It's not like he was at, some Division II school. I mean, he faced the best of the best every day, okay, in college. And so he's probably a little more ready than most people. Okay, but then I look down and I see like this Ethan Salas kid, right? 17 years old. He had a 472 OPS in high A, and they put him in Double A. Why? What's the point? What's the point? There's only a few weeks left in the season anyways.
He's 17.
He's 17 years old. Like, that one doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would you send a 17-year-old kid to Double A?
You want him to catch the Double A pitchers? Is there something to that? I don't know.
Plus, you're putting him in a situation where he's just younger than everybody, too. So, I mean, I don't know the kid at all, and I've heard great things about his makeup and everything. But as somebody, when I first went to AAA, I was 21. And I think the next youngest guy was like 25 or 26. That's a big deal because you're like, oh, man, I don't know any of these. I can't. They're talking about kids. I'm talking about I'm a kid.
In Double A or Triple A?
Triple A, sorry. Triple A, sorry. Triple A. Double A, I was great because I had all my peers I'd come up with.
Yeah.
And then I was the first one to jump to Triple A. And they're like, the next guy is like 25, 26 years old. And I'm like, these dudes are talking about having kids. And I'm talking about me. I'm a kid. I'm still like 21 years old, right? Just haven't turned 21. So I'm like, man, what's happening? It's an adjustment. But to be 17 in Double A, think about that, 17 years old. I mean, there's no way. I mean,
if you're hitting 400 in A-ball, go for it. But if you're hitting 200 in A-ball, I don't know if that's the best example.
But I think this is why I think what Russ said was so important. Each organization values different things, and they trust their development differently. But I just think there's something to be said for rushing guys. I think we over-rush guys a lot of times, and that's why we see so many guys have a hard time because they're really not ready. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to figure out who's ready and who's not because certain people listen, you get up there and Kratz will tell you, when you step foot on a big league field, it's a different animal than AAA, AA, college. Every single move you make is scrutinized. And there is I can't know of another job besides professional athletics that everything you do is looked at on TV, newspapers, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, internet. And there's not if I go to a guy's job that works in an office 7 days a week, 5 days a week, and I sat there and I was like, oh, you messed up that spreadsheet, they'd be like, right? But in athletics, everything is there.
Yeah, of course.
And so in AAA even it's different. So when you get to that big league level and those lights comes on, that they say third deck syndrome, it hits people. It hits people hard.
Mets sent down Brett Beatty. Jordan Walker was sent down kind of for no reason. They just had a logjam, and I don't know. That was a weird situation for the Cardinals. I mean, he's the same player since he's been back up, and they're not knocking him for, hitting too many balls on the ground or something.
Can we say maybe service time manipulation?
Maybe service time manipulation.
I don't want to say that.
What? Crazy. I mean, Kratz, the other thing to consider here is I brought up how if you stay under the 45 days, you're eligible to be rookie status next year and get your team a draft pick, which they value a ton, a high draft pick, basically a first-round pick. And let's also not forget, rookies cost less than anything else. So if he does come up, he's cheap as shit. So there's the part of, we need reinforcements. We got a guy right here, and you can't make trades at this point. But also, the guy is good. It's going to cost you nothing for, 3 years, and then not a ton for another 3 years.
There's so many things that AJ said that I agree with, and there's so many things that I want to rebuttal and talk about. You were exactly right. Organizations know this guy better than we know this guy. Whether they hype them up or not, like a Jackson Holliday whose heartbeat is super slow and is just, he's been around a big league clubhouse. Like legitimately, he wasn't like 12 and his dad was already out of the game for 3 years. Like my son hit with his son with the Yankees, hitting dingers out of Yankee Stadium. Like Dylan Cruz, like you said, SEC, he's killing it. He's already older than some of the kids he's going to play with in AA that are prospects. The kid they just moved Jacob Young up to AAA for him is right at the same age. So it's all case by case basis. And to me, the thing I think some organizations do incorrectly, and it's not necessarily like we're talking about the elite of the elite. Ethan Salas is supposed to be this incredible defender, and I played with his dad. I know the family is freaking like really intelligent. They're super smart. They come from, a really, really good background, but he's catching. So maybe they want to move him up to AA because of his receiving, and the high A pitchers were just scattering balls all over the place. And so you get guys that maybe can control it a little bit more. And he might spend 2 years at AA. He might go to AAA at this time next year to be able to catch younger pitchers or older pitchers that have an idea. And now he starts getting kind of that like idea of how to approach hitters and how to attack guys. Instead of in high A, you're sitting there going, it's 2-0. We have a 2-0 high A rule. Fastball right down the middle. You have to call it. A lot of organizations do that. So there's different stuff that goes into it. But the thing I have a problem with is when organizations, yes, service time manipulation, that sucks. They're still doing it. Even though the rules changed, they're still doing it. The thing that sucks is when organizations have a 21, 22-year-old and they're like, well, we don't need to get a AAA guy. We don't need to get a veteran into this situation at the beginning of the year because we'll just go and give this guy, he's on our 40-man, so we can call him up and down, and now we're holding on to our 40-man spots way tighter. Like the Yankees, because we talk about them all the time, Jake Bauers, you got that guy. You got Billy McKinney because you can bring those guys up to the big leagues, option them down. Up to the big leagues, option them down. You don't want to be doing that to a Peraza, a Cabrera, younger guys that's when it like really plays with them because they're sitting there going, did I do something wrong? Did I need to change something? I thought I was ready. You told me 3 weeks ago I was ready. Oh, now you're telling me I'm just going to be optioned up and down. That's the kind of thing that I think affects younger players, not calling up a Jackson Holliday and being like, dude, you are ready. Let's get it.
No, he's right. But everything he said was true. Like I said, the only thing that organizations don't want to do is they don't want to send their stars back down once they call them up. They don't. And I've lived it. I've seen dudes that probably should have gone down and they were hype prospects and they didn't send them down because they're like, we might wreck them forever. We'll keep them here.
I think some do now. I would argue some
do.
I
think some do. You're right. But I'm saying not every organization is okay with that because every player is a different human being and they deal with different things different ways. And organizations are different communicators. Some are good, some aren't so good, right? So if I'm, let's say I'm a Yankees, a front office, and we call up Dominguez because we were talking about him, and he gets off to a horrible start. They might be great communicators and say, listen, Jason, we're sending you down because A, B, C, D, and we think you can be back here in 3 weeks if you hit A, B, C, and D. And he goes down there and says, you know what? They were right. Boom. Or they could go, we're just sending you down because you ain't any good. We'll see you later. Like, not saying that's how it's
but as a valued prospect.
But you understand what I'm saying. There's different people handle everything differently.
Torkelson got optioned last year, and he had a slow start again this year, and he's been better now since. But I think it just depends on the mental component of the player that you're dealing with.
It does,
and if
in the organization,
in your system,
in
you
the
should
organization,
understand him. Yes, and the organization. So,
and you do need that. Like think about back to Aaron Judge. Went off in 2017. He was up in 16. He struggled at the end of the season, and he went off in spring training 17. There was internal discussions that came out. He might not make the team. Like even though he had a really good spring training, plenty of haters who have a lot of time in the big leagues say, spring training is not a precursor. They gave him the opportunity. Obviously, look where he's at now. Dustin Pedroia hit like 190 in April in Boston. They kept giving him a chance. Tito gave him a chance. It's really case by case. But when you manipulate guys without communication, like AJ said, it's bad. It's bad. If you're just and I also think if you're just using a guy like options, it makes a prospect feel like he's not quite that prospect. And sometimes prospects need that like build up. You can tell him he's really good, but if you show him that, oh, well, you just have options, you're going to have these options forever. You know, they'll have 3 years of options, but then they'll be like, well, actually, we have a fourth one because you were in the big leagues before you were 20, and then we can manipulate that. It just feels like you're more grinding, and most prospects at any point really haven't had to grind through that roster crunch. They have a hot month, boom, I'm up in high A. Another hot month, boom, I'm up in double A kind of thing.
Well, my thing is, you know, you're naming like Pedroia and all those guys. I mean, I can. Gordon Beckham came up, had a great month and a half. Next year he was awful, and they didn't want to send him down because they were like, we might ruin him, right? We had Brian Anderson in 2006, took over for Aaron Rowan in center field of the White Sox. He wasn't very good offensively. Now you could go get it, but they should have sent him down at one point and said you need to work on certain things, and they didn't because they're like, we don't know if we'll ever get him back, right? So you can go either way on this, but again, it goes back to the organization, knowing the players and knowing how to communicate with the players, and the players knowing and believing that the organization has their back. And like Kratz says, prospects are always treated differently than suspects.
Yes, if you're highly regarded, it's going to look a little bit different. And I will say, if Nolan Shanwell can get called up,
Chris Sale did it. Chris Sale was up in a month after getting drafted.
My point is Dylan Cruz.
Brandon
Paul Skenes should be in the big leagues. If I'm the Pirates, I'm like, why not throw him out there?
There's no way they'll do that.
No, but you can control his innings. You can put him in the bullpen and say, hey, or let him have a start or two. He's pitching in the complex league. I mean, it's not like he's not pitching. So call him up and be like, hey, guys, hey, Paul, we're going to give you 3 starts in September. Because you get extra roster spots. Why not? Why not do it? Why not call up Dylan Cruz and say, if you're the Washington Nationals and you're...
No, Cruz would. I mean, I think that makes sense for the Nats. The Pirates operate differently.
I'm just saying.
Pirates.
Obviously, the Pirates. But I'm saying if I'm the Pirates, I'm Ben Cherington, well, I would look at it and say...
Oh, I think he should, but I don't know if his owner would let him. The Nationals, I think, would say, yeah, screw it. It's fine. We can call up Dylan Cruz. We're good.
The Pirates are sitting there. The Pirates are sitting there like this. They're holding this Paul Skenes like rare, unique golden egg, and they're like, we don't know what to do with it.
How much money can we make off it?
I don't know. Let's ask Bob Nutting. What does Bob Nutting have to say? I don't know. And they're just like, all right, let's take our Paul and put him in another level. Is that cool? Like, is that like the guys in the big leagues are probably like, yeah, come on, guys, bring him up. You know, Shelton's up there and Radley Haddad, their coordinator of extreme strategies. They're up there like, yeah, this dude's a big leaguer. In the minor leagues, Bob Nutting's like, oh, my Paul Skenes.
It's true.